How to be a better salesperson. Whether you are new to the sales field or have been in the profession for a while, this video will be helpful to you. And if today you are already working on the techniques but are not seeing the results you seek, then the problem may not be that you don't know the techniques, but rather that you don't know the rules of the game. In this video, we are going to focus precisely on those rules that will add value to the techniques you learn so that you can do this. The vehicle that takes you wherever you want, if you only focus on the technique, is like working on the body of your car. But what we are going to look at is what gives horsepower to your engine. So let's move on to the first point. Do you know how I know you are a good salesperson? You don't have to be cunning or know all the right phrases. You just have to believe in what you are selling. If you don't, then stop selling it that way. Every day you leave your house, you are on a mission not to sell but to help. When someone tells you no, which is something that will always happen, you won't feel bad for yourself. You'll feel bad for the person. God loves the salesperson just as much as he loves the farmer, the coach, and the healer. All the good things in life are useless unless there is someone to sell them to the world. There is someone in the market today who is praying for you to appear in their life to soothe their pain with the product or service you offer. Being timid in your proposal does no favors to the world. Love will endure infinitely more than greed. If you truly believe that what you are doing is going to help someone, then your fuel is love. And it is very easy to notice when a person believes in their product or service. You can see it in their eyes and hear it in their voice, and that is all I need to be willing to listen to what the person has to offer. Absolutely nothing is more authentic in a sale than being a customer of your own product. Nothing says I believe in what I do more than practicing it through your own consumption. Ralph Waldo Emerson rightly said, "What you do speaks so loudly that I cannot hear what you say." When I started my business, I carried a burden that many people also bear. It was this mantra that said, "I don't know how to sell," but I turned this thought to my advantage, and it helped me to be consistent with my proposal. My niche was wellness and fitness, and I decided that I was going to become a product of the product. To build a personal outcome, a testimony of my own so that I wouldn't have to make a sales pitch, but rather my own transformation would speak for itself. I learned from the beginning the importance of speaking less, listening more, and showing more. Remember that no one is better equipped to help another person than someone who used to be that same person. That is to say, in your personal story, in the challenges you overcome, your prospect can find a reflection of their own life. And if it was possible for you to solve your problem with your product, then it is also possible for him. Become an evangelist for your proposal, and this does not mean that you have to convince everyone to believe in what you believe. It means that everyone must be convinced that you firmly believe in it. Once this is understood, we can start talking about how to improve sales techniques. While passion is the engine that brings sales to life, technique is what provides direction. If you firmly believe that what you offer can improve people's lives, then you need to enhance your abilities and skills to convey that value. Perhaps your product has a value and quality of 10 out of 10, but if your ability to convey that is only 3 out of 10, then that is what the market will perceive. Take responsibility for every presentation you make. Whether you close the sale or not, even though it may sound counterintuitive, it is not what determines the success of your presentation. Do not measure your success based on external factors. The closing of a sale is not a factor that is under your control, and defining your success based on it leads to an emotional roller coaster. Sometimes you will have customers who buy your product even if you do a poor job of presenting it, which could be a result of the person specifically looking for a product like the one you offer, and coincidentally, you appeared in their life. Similarly, you may give the best presentation of your life, a 10 out of 10, and despite that, it is possible that the client decides they are not ready to start due to external factors. In other words, if you rely solely on the closing of the sale to define whether you did a good job or not, there will be times when you congratulate yourself for a job poorly done and start reinforcing bad sales patterns. Or you will punish yourself despite having done a good job and dismiss good sales practices. To prevent this from happening, it is important to stop basing your success on external factors and start directing your attention to the only thing that is under your control, which is your own performance. It doesn't matter how well or poorly you did in your first presentation. What matters is how much better your 10th presentation is compared to the first. It is not as important how good your 10th presentation is. What matters is how good and how much better your presentation is. Number 100 versus number 10. This approach puts your progress under your control and develops your most important business asset, which is yourself. And the money generated is nothing more than the consequence of refining personal skills. This is the reason why there are people who can go from being bankrupt to building giant businesses, because despite losing everything, they still have their most important asset, which is themselves and the skills learned along the way. It also explains why there are people in the market who do not grow in their business, as they are constantly chasing money instead of developing personal skills, not understanding that money is the fruit of the tree, activity is the seed sown, and consistency is the water that nourishes it. Harvesting is not reserved for those who need or for those who demand. Harvesting is reserved for those who deserve. The third point is service. How much would your sales change if your philosophy upon entering was always to leave this person feeling better than they did before crossing my path? People may want, even need, your product, but remember that at the end of the day, they are buying from you. Zig Ziglar says that people care very little about what you know until they know how much you care about them. If the person in front of you does not feel that you have a genuine interest in helping them, they do not feel special. They only feel that for you, this is just another transaction. Therefore, it will be difficult for you to close that sale. Surely at some point in your life, you have been a victim of a salesperson or company that made you feel like just another number, and you may have even decided that you never want to work with them again. If you know what that feels like, don't make your clients feel the same way. One of the first things I was taught when I started my business is that the one who serves the most is the one who earns the most. And I must confess that it took me years to put this advice into practice, but when I finally did, the receptiveness of my clients changed completely. I stopped focusing on how much I could earn from the client and started focusing on how much I could serve them. And then I expanded the concept and decided that I not only wanted to help my clients, but also those who are not. I started to develop strategies to help prospects achieve their goals without needing my service, and in a counterintuitive way. Sales of my service skyrocketed because it was evident to the client that my goal was not their money, but their results, to serve them, to help them. And when they realize that I am not after the money, it becomes much easier for them to hand it over to me. They noticed that it was possible for them to achieve their goals with the principles I taught them, but of course it would be easier to outsource that service through me so they wouldn't have to invest their time and attention in it. What added value can you provide to your pre- or post-sale service without expecting anything in return from your clients? And speaking of post-sale, let's move on to the fourth point. Many people believe they are in the business of appliances, restaurants, or gyms, when in reality, the industry we are all in is the people industry. In an increasingly digitized and impersonal world, it has never been easier to stand out in the market. When was the last time you received more than what was promised from a service you purchased in the market? When was the last time someone asked you if you were satisfied with your purchase after they sold you the product? And I am not referring to an email they send you rating from 1 to 10 to see how satisfied you are with the service received. I am talking about a human being who is genuinely interested in ensuring that your experience has been what you expected or better. Failing in this aspect makes the difference between having to start from scratch every month or having a growing business month after month. Of course, a restaurant needs to have good food to be competitive, but that is the bare minimum and does not guarantee customer loyalty. An extraordinary culinary experience can be ruined by poor service. The sale was closed, but the customer was lost. My husband and I set aside one day a week, week after week, to have a date without our children. The last time we were deciding where we were going to eat, we put many options on the table where the food we knew was delicious. Finally, we chose the restaurant, where not only was the food delicious, but the service was extraordinary. And of course, this time was no exception either. People like to go where they feel at home, where they know our names and what we like. Is it a place where you arrive and they say, "Rodrigo, how are you?" Same as always. And this applies even in areas that apparently are not service-oriented, such as the sale, for example, of appliances. Imagine that you are selling televisions. Your client tells you that they are looking for a giant screen to watch football, which is their passion. You close the sale and say goodbye. Imagine how valuable it would be if the next time you know their team is playing, you send them a message asking how the game went. Your new television does not mean that you are going to buy another TV, even if you don't need it, but it may possibly be your first option when you want to add extras to your equipment, or it might even refer some leads to you. Those who pursue new clients every month, neglecting the ones they already have a clear ceiling regarding the income they will generate monthly, as each month as many clients leave as arrive. Those who understand that their clients are people before they are clients and take care of them while continuously seeking new clients have no limit to the income they can generate, because the income from new clients consistently adds to the loyal clients from previous months. Develop the habit of giving your customers more than what they pay for in service and affection. Become so valuable that the customer feels it is expensive to replace you, even with someone who sells the same product as you, even if it is cheaper.